Welcome everybody to the opening of our new level 5 top of the line state-of-the-art wind tunnel. Now unfortunately we can't show you inside right now because our engineers are very hard at work trying to find a front wing that'll keep Logan Sargeant on the track. But trust me, when you get in there, she's really good. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today we have our first home Grand Prix. It is very much a home Grand Prix for Logan Sargeant. It is in Miami. Of course, he is from Fort Lauderdale, as we all learned multiple times during the Miami Grand Prix in real life. And yeah, so this is exciting, and it is extra exciting because we have a new underfloor, suspension, and chassis on the car. And plus, as I just mentioned in the intro there, we have our brand new state-of-the-art wind tunnel, level 5, 5-star, whatever you want to call it. It's as high as it goes, and just in time for the new R&D time to reset as well. So we'll be able to utilize it, and hopefully, well, we're going to decide today, basically, in a second here, whether we switch our attention to next season's car already, or whether we look to keep developing this car. So let's go, first of all, and have a look at a reminder, perhaps, of the standings. We dropped down to 6th in the constructors standings after the last race at Imola. A little bit my fault in that I was pushing Sargeant when I told myself at the start of the year I wouldn't do that, and he crashed, and I think it cost him at least 10 points. So there is the driver's standings as well. Crawford, though, did pick up his first points in Formula 1, so let's hope that he can keep that form going as well. Now, let's go across here till we get to the car. This is the exciting thing. So let's go and add on all the new parts that we have here. So if we go and have a look, show rank on grid, and have a look at our new chassis, you can see it helps with high speed and engine cooling. It helps massively. So I don't know exactly the impact on running the car the engine cooling will have, but it can only be a good thing, can't it? Front wing. Now, we already added the new one of that, didn't we? What did I say we had that was new? We had a new underfloor. Now, this is a big upgrade always. The underfloor is so important. And let's have a look here what this will do. So it'll take us up to 3rd and 4th in a lot of those things there to help a little bit with acceleration as well. So that can only be a good thing. And the other thing that we've done is we've got suspension mark 27, it feels like. So if we show rank on grid, is it going to improve? It doesn't improve us that much. Does it actually improve us at all? It does improve us a little bit, but it doesn't actually move us up on the grid. So it's worth putting on the car, but it's maybe not a life changer in that sense. But there we go. So that shows our rank on the grid right now. We still need to improve acceleration. DRS acceleration is quite good, isn't it? Brake cooling looks to be the major issue. So my first instinct, given that we have time now that we can design new parts for the car, is I think, and it was mentioned in the comments as well, that we want to have at least 2 of our 3 engineering groups on this year's car, I think, and maybe we look to move 1 onto next year's car earlier. So we need, what did I say? We need brake cooling, wasn't it? Was the major issue. So that suspension will help with that. Yeah, it's brake cooling and it's acceleration that is the main problem here, isn't it? So we've got to do suspension for brake cooling, don't we? We need to go and invest some time and money into that, and perhaps even sort of shift things a little bit. We'll put a little bit of extra time into this so that can we develop towards brake cooling. It's just really frustrating. So if we were to focus more on that, it at least moves us up the grid a little bit. So I think we do need to do that, don't we? Even if it takes away a little bit of what we could do elsewhere. That is definitely going to help us. Now, given how big of an upgrade the underfloor was looking, and it does help with some of the other issues that we have on the car, relatively speaking, in top speed and acceleration, I wonder if that is what we look to do, or do we do side pods? No, because the underfloor helps us in cornering as well. It's just so important on this sort of generation of Formula 1 cars. So I think we do need to do that a little bit more than halfway. And we'll go a little bit more than halfway here. Actually, I'll split that perfectly. Look at that. So that helps with airflow, drag reduction. That is all quite good. And if we just, I think, leave the focus where it is. Do we want to focus? Can we focus on acceleration? Not really. It'd be drag reduction probably, wouldn't it? But I think we just go with that, don't we? I mean, top speed, I mean, it's going to be a relative thing, isn't it? We're not going to be that much slower. Famous last words, I wouldn't have thought. But I don't think we're going to be that much slower in a straight line. And a lot of it, you know, if you get good traction out of a corner, then it's going to make a difference anyway. And then this is the question: do we look to go and maybe do one thing on next year's car, perhaps? And side pods helps with engine cooling, top speed, and acceleration. So maybe we go and just a little bit of early season development or research into next year's car, and it can only be a good thing, kind of. Now, of course, its high speed is where the major cutback is, but I think we just want to try at this point anyway. Try and develop a relatively even car or balanced car, and then we can kind of go from there. So officially, we are looking to next season, although I probably should figure out if we're going to have time to do next season before the new version comes out, shouldn't I? Drivers, we don't have any development points there. Staff, we do. Ahead of Aero has a development point. Cooling, low speed downforce, drag reduction, air sensitivity. I mean, cooling is the major issue on the car, but I think maybe drag reduction, we'll stick it onto that for him. And one of our race engineers as well, yeah, Jego has one here, so we'll go and stick that onto pit stop times and try and get those a little bit quicker again. And I think that is just about everything caught up on. We have a dry Miami race. That's a big sigh of relief for me. Races are just stressful. So circuit map for qualifying: red sector 1, blue sector 2, yellow sector 3. If we can see there, it's fast and flowing, and then it becomes a bit of a Mickey Mouse, doesn't it, at the end of the lap there. So acceleration, low speed, high speed is what we're looking for. Now we know we struggle a little bit with acceleration. Now there's always been a safety car, and the safety car pit stop will save you not a great 8 seconds or so. So it's not insignificant, but it's not the be all and end all. Medium and hard, one stop looks to be the way to go. If you can do a medium and soft hard two stop, then I don't know why we'd save a set of mediums, although we've seen before I've been caught out by that. Tires degrade quickly. Look at that, 1.6 seconds a lap. Or sorry, not 1 point, that would be degrading, wouldn't it? 0.16 seconds a lap, a tenth a lap on the medium and a seventh a lap on the hard. And the difference in lap time soft to hard is only about, what's that, half a second. So it's going to get caught up pretty quickly, isn't it? Given that it's degrading at more than half the speed. So, yeah, that's going to be a little bit difficult, perhaps. Previous race, so we had Sargeant in 12th last year, outperforming Kevin Magnussen in his home race. But Kevin Magnussen has won here. This is a track Haas has won at. And last year, this was the one, wasn't it, where Sargeant, we were going to come first and second in a wet race, and Sargeant ploughed into the back of K-Mag. Logan, if you do that again, mate, it'll be an instant termination, I think, of that contract of yours. So reach Q3. Sargeant's been doing okay on that front, so let's hope that we can do that. Finishing position. Do we go for... I'm not going to go for fastest lap because it just tempts me into pushing them. And qualifying, one car in the top 10 should be doable. And by one car, I think we do, of course, mean Logan Sargeant. So let's head off to Miami. And let's hope it's a good race with the upgrades on the car. Alright, so there we go, confirmation of the weather. I'll go and do free practice, hopefully nail a setup, and see you for qualifying. Alright, free practice is done, and a little bit of a strange one, to be honest, to know exactly where we stand. If we go to have a look at FP1 here, Sargeant was 9th, and if we go down, Crawford down there in 19th, which is not great, though his engine is older because of the accident in Melbourne. FP2, though, Sargeant, just an absolute smidge off topping the session. And then we did a bit of a Red Bull at Monaco because we had Crawford right down the other end. And then FP3, it was Sargeant back in 9th and Crawford down there in 18th. Now, I don't know how much the engine is affecting Crawford's times. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Now, one thing that should happen is now that we put in our newer parts, that should improve our speed a little bit. So I'm really a little bit confused. I don't know if Sargeant is genuinely in a race for pole here. I don't know if 9th is just roughly where he's going to be. And equally, I don't know if Crawford is massively struggling to get out of Q1, or when we put in these newer engine parts, is he going to be in contention to get into Q3? We're going to find out very shortly, though, because it's time for Q1. So we were absolutely fine. Sargeant in 8th, Crawford in 13th. Now, I did do a second run with both of them just because the time gaps were quite small, even though in the order we were relatively safe. So, yeah, good thing I did, because I think if I hadn't done that, just the track evolution would have meant that, well, certainly Crawford would have missed out. But we've got both cars through, which is the first time, I think, have we done that once before, maybe? So let's go to Q2, see if we can get both cars into Q3. That would be something, wouldn't it? Okay, now we are on board with Jack Crawford, currently in 6th, and we have Sargeant in 3rd. Now, the first runs were done on used tyres, so we've got fresh ones on for this one. There's a lot of green and purples on that tower over there, though, so we are going to need to go faster here. We are the last 2 cars on track. Sargeant is in front of us. Sargeant's gone purple. Sargeant has gone purple in the first sector, and we've got Crawford going faster as well. What have we done here? This is could be a magnificent home race for the team. We're going faster with both cars. Sargeant's not quite managed to go as quick. Now, Verstappen is in a little bit of trouble here, is he? No, he's gone up the top. Crawford and Sargeant are both currently out. Sargeant about to cross the line. He will go second, and Crawford... Oh, he stayed 14th. So Crawford eliminated... How much was he eliminated by? What did he did? He did a 29.0, and well, I tell you what, he wasn't far off Perez. So he's not out by much. It's so close, isn't it, to the Ferraris? We almost lost both cars there. That would have been a shock. But Logan Sargeant splits the Red Bulls, and he is in contention for pole here. Alright, Logan Sargeant currently in 6th, coming around to start his final fast lap. Now, he was, I'm fairly sure, blocked a little bit by Bottas on his first run, which was on used tyres as well. So I think there's a little bit more time just in the lap on the same set of tyres. The fact he's on new tyres as well should mean with that little bit quicker again. And let's have a look here. We have done a green first sector. And there's not much green going on that tower there, is there? So let's see where we can go. Bottas is going quicker down there in P10. I wonder if he got a little bit of instant karma there. We've done 2 green sectors with Sargeant. Now, no purple sectors, so maybe pole position isn't quite on here. But could he split the Red Bulls again? Could he get on the front row? It is his home race, of course. He grew up just sort of in the suburbs of Miami. Could he do this? Could he do this? Logan Sargeant, here we go. Last card across the line, and he has finished 4th. Still very good, Logan. Very good. So he will start from 4th. He was a little ways off pole, in truth. But right up there, splitting the Alpines, which is good. Crawford in 14th. He could race from there as well, can't he? And, of course, I need to remind myself, do not push them chasing a result. We just need to get the points we can get here. Now, that is a very marginal one-stop. Now, we saw in Melbourne, though, didn't we? Do we learn the lesson from Melbourne that the one-stop was the quicker stop? And I think if we do this, and if we get a safety car at any point... well, within reason, I think we come in there, we make the extra stop, and we finish on a soft tyre. But I think we're going to need to do this and just try and eke out these tyres as much as we can. So yeah, we'll learn the lesson from Melbourne, I think, and it'll be the same for both cars, won't it? Yeah. So that's what we'll do. If we do happen to get a safety car, then we'll take advantage of that. But if not, then yeah, that's how it's going to be. Alright, welcome back. I did toy with the idea of splitting it and starting one of them on the hard, but the reason I didn't do that is that if we were getting an early safety car or an early-ish safety car and we're already on the hard tyre, we can't then pit to put on a hard tyre and then go with a soft at the end. So I think it's better to have the hard up our sleeves, so that if there is a safety car, we can go onto that tyre and then still have the soft tyre to go at the end. So yeah, that was my thinking there, but a fairly normal start, let's say. It looks like, is everybody on a medium? There's a couple of drivers, so Leclerc's on a hard. Now, what we don't want is to get stuck behind him, but equally, as I've said, what I'm not going to do is push them, because we've learnt that mistake, or I've learnt that mistake in Imola. Sargeant would have had a good result if I just sat him there. We've just got to collect points this season. And the car appears to have taken a nice step forward with that new underfloor and whatnot as well. So yeah, we've just got to be a little bit sensible here. Now, how's Crawford getting on? He is currently stuck behind Vettel, and yeah, it looks as though it's all a little bit stagnant as things stand right now. We've got our ERS being deployed here. I won't leave it on once DRS is available, because it looks as though it recharges fairly well around the lap. So we might be able to get away with having quite a bit left and still having the DRS to use. Here we go. We've got a good run on Gasly in front. Now, the Alpine, we know, has taken a big step forward from Imola. So they had a 1-2 there, didn't they? The Alpine. So this is a very good place for us to be. We'll go back to neutrals. It turns out we went through all the ERS anyway, which you usually do in 2 laps, to be honest. So that's fine. But it looks as though, as I say, it does recharge fairly well around the lap. But, well, let's see how this race develops. If there's no safety car, it could be a little bit of a boring one-stop. but as we've seen, 100% chance of a safety car. So here we go, a little bit of DRS assistance. It's got us alongside Gasly, round the outside. Look at that, that's that underfloor pushing the air away, good in the dirty air, and we're up to third with Sargeant. Alright, so the race has settled down quite a bit now. Sargeant's still there in third in a sort of lead quartet. And Crawford, as you can see there, is getting some moves done now as well. He's gone to the front of that particular queue. So he's up to 12th. If he can catch Guan Yu Zhou there, perhaps he needs to get DRS to protect himself from Norris. Although, in truth, it looks like he's pulling away from him a little bit. So, yeah, I'm going to say put this in the class of so far so good. Though we can see, I mean, look at Sargeant's tyre wear compared to Verstappen. He is going to struggle. In fact, we might need to, he's dropping off the back, we might need to look to start to conserve the tyres a little bit. Yeah, because otherwise it's, what we can't do is guarantee a safety car, of course. We can say historically there's been a 100% chance of it, but we can't obviously guarantee it. So we'll try and save a bit of tyre life. We'll try and use up the little bit of extra petrol we've got to make up for that. And pit stops are starting already. So that must be 2 stoppers, surely. Because we saw how marginal it was for us to get there. So, yeah, this is 100% 2 stoppers. But, yeah, still sitting there in third. No one can get past him, which is good. The Alpines are dropping back as well. So, if he can keep it on the track, he could be on for a good result here, old Logan. Alright, so we are entering the pit window. It is absolute... Oh, Crawford's locked up. Oh, he's out. There's no way he's coming back from that. Oh, Crawford. That's the safety car that we needed for Sargeant, to be fair. So that's not a bad thing, but he is almost certainly out of this race, isn't he? Anyway, we'll see exactly what happens here. I need to get Sargeant in. So, yes, Crawford is out. Now, the Red Bulls are going to double stack, which is going to give us an advantage there. If we can get a very quick stop, we could find ourselves coming out in second place here. Equally, at this end of the pit lane, we could find ourselves a long way down. We're going to have to wait for everybody. Oh, this is ridiculous. How have both Red Bulls got out in front of us as well? Sargeant absolutely rooted by our pit stall there. Down to third to 8th. Alright, so safety car is ending. Crawford, as I say, is out. We've got Sargeant in 8th. Now, Russell and Leclerc stopped, but they stopped for medium tyres, which is interesting. Perez is in front of us on... now, did he not stop? No, he did stop. Why is his tyres so old then? So I suggest that there might be 3 guys at least that are not going to be able to get to the end. And Sargeant, I mean, having to stop that little bit earlier, we can see it's going to be super, super marginal again. So there's a part of me, and of course I don't want to push, which is why I'm not going to do it. But you know, if we were to if we were to push and look to go into a soft tyre at the end, but 8th is better than sitting in the pit lane next to Crawford, isn't it? So we're not going to do it, but we'll see how we can go. We're going to save the ERS as well. We'll just sort of use it in a regular manner rather than deploying. Yeah, I mean, it was a massive train, a top 8 train when the safety car came out. We're just at the back of it rather than towards the front of it now. Okay, we are starting to get to the point where the cars in front are just getting away from Perez a little bit, so we are going to use some overtake here on the ERS, and looks like we have managed to get that move done. So hopefully that will now see us be able to go on and catch the car in front here. We need to just try and get back into the DRS here, though, don't we? Let's go to deploy. Yeah, we've got to get back into the DRS, and then we can look to sit back a little bit. We don't have it this lap, though. Are we going to stay in front? We are. Okay, so we should, with a little bit of deploy, get ourselves back within DRS for this back straight. And then we can sit in the queue and maybe look to save a little bit of tyres here. Good, we do have DRS back. So, yeah, it's going to be a slow... Oh, Jesus Christ. Perez, where'd that come from, mate? That's conserving tyres, isn't it? Alright, well, we're back where we started. Alright, now we are just trying to conserve our tyres to make sure we're going to get to the end. Perez keeps overtaking us, which is annoying and DRSing us. We've lost the back of the top 6 now. But what I'm hoping, as I've said, is that I don't think Leclerc, Russell, and Perez are going to get to the end. So if we make sure our tyre life is roughly the same as those that are in front of us on the hard tyre, then that should be, what, a 5th place finish for us. So that's what I'm sort of aiming towards right now. Norris behind us as well is not going to get to the end. So, yeah, I mean, they may come absolutely roaring through on a soft tyre, but that's the risk we're going to have to take here. If we were to get a safety car, of course, we would come in for a soft tyre as well. But it's the way that this is developed, and with the way that Sargeant doesn't necessarily look after his tyres the best, or in fact he is almost certainly the worst, it's just dictating what we need to do here to get the maximum result we can. So if we get 5th here, I think we'll all be pretty happy, won't we? Alright, and here are the pit stops. So Perez is in, and a few of the other back of the pack cars. Now, are we going to get Leclerc and Russell are going to have to stop, and Norris behind us is going to have to stop as well. So we're sort of a clear 7th as things stand right now. We'll have to just back off the petrol burn a little bit there. But you can see we're actually in a better place with our tyres now than those around us. Now, we're still just on track to get there. We're not going to be doing anything special. And we'll have to keep an eye now on these soft tyre runners. I'm wondering, do we jump? What's the time difference that they've got on us? Perez is doing a 31, so 2 seconds a lap. It was a 20-odd. No, I don't think that's going to work out for us, is it? What's the gap? Gap to leader. If we were to stop, where would we come out? We come out in 13th. Would we get back to 6th is the question. I think we've got to just stick with the original plan, don't we? There's no guarantee. I mean, Perez is going to have to go through traffic to get to us as well. It's not like he's got a clear run at us. And he is a little ways back. So that's 5th, which is where we kind of wanted to be. Ocon behind us is on a hard tyre, and Bottas as well is on a hard tyre, and then we've got Vettel. I'm thinking I should have jumped here, you know. They are doing 1:30. They're 4 seconds a lap faster. It's too late now. I should have done it. Yeah. Like I say, it's too late to do it now. We won't make the time back, but given that Sargeant was going to struggle to get there anyway. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see here. There's 5 laps to go. We might just stay with it and see the gap. So Ocon has got us. Now, there might be a benefit to this in that we could sort of DRS behind him and stay there. Leclerc is coming at a great rate of knots, though. Bottas, if you can just hold him up for us, mate, that would be great. Few laps to go. Look, everybody else's tyres are knackered. Yeah, I mean, Leclerc was a mile in front of us anyway. Perez was the one we were battling with. And well, let's go and watch the action here. Leclerc is going to get us, which is acceptable, I think, in a Red Bull. it's Perez behind us that I'm a little bit more concerned about. And there is 2 laps to go. Gasly's look at the cars in front of us. Their tyres are absolutely destroyed. Lap time wise, they're doing slower lap times than we are now conserving. Can we get past Ocon? Oh, around the outside. Can we make it stick? Inside now, not quite. And that's going to make us a little bit of a sitting duck now, unfortunately. We've got Mr. Leclerc behind us. The battery is now empty. We want to get in front here if we can to try and protect ourselves from Leclerc down this straight. Last lap for Carlos Sainz. It's a cracking race, isn't it? Let's jump on board.
You're opening your last lap.
And the tyres have hit the exclamation point zone. There's no point conserving them now. They're already rubbish. So we might as well go for it. All right, now, let's go. If we go overtake here, if we can get in front of Ocon down this straight, that should protect us then down the back straight for no worse than 6th. So there we go. We have got that done, I think, have we? Make him eat some more. We have got that done. Okay. Let's just go deploy from now to the end. We have to back off the petrol to make sure we get there. Look at how much we're catching these cars in front too. They're absolutely struggling to get there. And he's done brilliantly as Logan Sargeant. I tell you what, another couple of laps we would have won this thing, I think. But it's been won by Sainz, and the one stop has worked. Wonderful drive from Logan Sargeant for 5th. Well done, mate. And what a final lap. And we've run out of petrol. A perfectly managed race.
Check flag.
So Logan Sargeant, it says he went down a position, but it was better than that, wasn't it? Look at K-Mag up there in 2nd. He loves this place, doesn't he? Really, really pleased with that. We've managed to keep Leclerc behind us as well, even though they were absolutely flying at us at the end. Yeah, us and Ocon, we actually kept each other ahead of them, which is we worked really well together, and then we just managed to, to sort of outmaneuver them at the end there to make sure that we finished in front. Just for once, I had a little bit of extra battery life in the car. Usually, of course, I have burnt it through, haven't I? But Sargeant moves up 1 into 7th. He's still there or thereabouts, isn't he? So goes ahead of Perez. But K-Mag's only just in front of him, as long with Ocon, Gasly, and Sainz isn't that far away either. So, yeah, all looking good there. The constructors, we move up ahead of Mercedes into 5th by a point. And, yeah, I'm going to say happy days there. It's a shame for Crawford, but as I've said before, we're going to have to expect mistakes from him. We got one there, and to be fair, that safety car that it brought out may well have allowed us to keep Sargeant as high up as he was. So, in the sake of the team, it worked out in the end. So that is that. If you've enjoyed it, thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. I think the next race is either Monaco or Baku. Can't remember which one it is now because it's last season's in real life schedule, isn't it? So it's one of those two. If it's Monaco, let's hope we qualify well. If it's Baku, let's hope we don't hit too much. Take care.